Koto, and welcome to Mud and Blood, a podcast dark and grim. And welcome to Valley of Blood, our Warlock actual play series here on the channel. This week, we rejoin two of our party who've tracked down Albrecht, the missing manservant of the von Hoffmans. This desperate man is holed up in a small abandoned building in Old Town with a blunderbuss, as the party has just convinced him to talk about what he knows of the von Hoffmans. But before we join them, some history. In the linear, the content that Svelsing, Strussland, and Nissia all belong to, the predominant religion is variations of the Church of Solaria, roughly split into two primary factions by East and Western hemispheres. This is because, centuries ago, the faith was spread alongside aggressive imperial expansion of an empire long dead by now, partially reminiscent of the Roman Empire in our old world. Once this empire fell, it left elements of a shared culture that is quite convenient in game terms, such as related languages and shared beliefs. This shared heritage allows some elements of familiarity, so we can handwave things like language barriers and really lean into the uncanny valley effect when things seem the same but aren't. Outside of this faith, there are obviously the external religions in other parts of the world, or old pagan faiths that remain from before the spread of Solaria. Most of these have been assimilated and absorbed, long forgotten. Those elements that remain are largely outlawed as heresy. Most of these old faiths have been long wiped out from the world, as much of the world was conquered many centuries ago. The East, however, was much more recent in this imperial expansion, and Svelsing specifically was the last of the old faith nations to fall, having only been under Solarian control for 3 centuries. Solaria very much dominates modern Svelsing, and any holdouts and old beliefs that remain are hidden deep, deep down, far from prying eyes of those who seek to keep the land pure and clean. But enough history for now. Let's get back to our players as they start talking to Albrecht. So Albrecht sits down, and for the first time, he sits down like an abandoned crate or a barrel. So sits there and places the blunderbuss across his lap. And he's like, "Do either of you two fucking smoke?"
Of course I do. And I pull out the pouch with the pipe. Here you go. You want some? You'll have to have your own pipe now.
He pulls out his own pipe. It's only a small little one, and he takes a lot of your tobacco, a big wad of it. He puts a little bit in the pipe, and he pockets the rest. And then he gets the pipe going, and then takes a long drag. It's like, right, okay.
Tell us about what was happening with Raider. Who was she entertaining? How'd she meet them? What were they like?
Alright, well. Shit. Well, the lady... Look, let me just say this right now. The lady was always good to me. Alright? She was good to all of us. Looked after all of us quite good. I got no issues with the lady. She's alright. But she got a bit... It's not right, you know? You don't have a woman like that with interests and hobbies and a life, and then take her to the arse end of fucking nowhere and then ignore her. Alright? Perfectly good woman. You know, blood pumping through them veins, and you don't even... She's in her own room, she's up to her own business. So, you know, she got bored. Lonely. Made friends, right? Like, I don't know where she met them, but she started having these locals about, these Svelish types coming about. She put on a big dinner, but then always had us rush off, not really hang around long. Get dinner going, then once dinner was done, we'd have to get out of there, do the clean up in the morning. a weird lot.
Yeah, that is in itself a little bit suspicious, isn't it?
Well, most of the time we'd be there cleaning all night. We'd get the job done, then we'd go home, leave them to it. But with this lot, she didn't want us hanging around. She'd be like, night off you go, have fun. Even flick us a bit of extra coin sometimes to go have a good time.
Did you ever catch any of the names of those that she had around?
Well, yeah, actually, I knew a couple of them. There was this tailor. She had me go a few times and pick things up from him. Name was Lipsky, I think. Lipsky, he's up Old Town. Nice tailor, did restorations and things. She'd have me run him stuff and she had an account with him. And there was another fella, a merchant, who used to bring things in and out of town a lot. Called Von Strom. He's one of us.
That's interesting.
There's a few others. But I didn't really know them. Tell you what, some of them, knobs, right? Noble types.
She ever seem particularly friendly towards any of these?
Well, look, I'm not saying she was doing the dirty on her husband, if that's what you mean. But, excited. I mean, can you blame her? She spent years here, sitting around that house, wasting away, and then suddenly people wanted to come around. It was a bit of a weird group, though. Tailors, merchants, nobles. How often do they hang out?
Could be old friends, don't know, eh? Could be anything, really. So, any of those religious types, or any religious stuff happening?
Yeah, they, I think she went a bit native with the faith, changed her idols. That's when Sir got really upset, and that's when they split rooms. That was it. There was no more. That was marriage and name only, that one.
So, if I told you that we have a contact telling us that perhaps she has left town, perhaps with one of these people, who would you say it would be?
I don't know. Good fucking on her, though. Can't say I blame. Would you hang around?
We ain't being judgmental. We're just trying to figure out what happened in case it was bad to either of them and who it is that wishes them ill.
Mate, look, if you ask me, here's my theory, right? Something's fucked up. Alright, Sir, he's gone. This lot of kicking in doors, ransacking places. I reckon one of her knob mates got word something was on and they got out of town. She got out of Dodge. Left Sir behind. She's off living her life. I kind of wish she told me.
Well, why wouldn't she tell you? What kind of situation would she get in where she couldn't even tell her staff, give them a heads up to get out of town?
I don't know. Like I said, whenever they were around, didn't have much to do with it. Should move us on. They've been hanging around a lot lately.
Any of the old Nissian types at her little gatherings?
I don't know, really. Svolish, Nissian. It's all native to me.
No 50, 60-year-old scarred fella with stained teeth?
By chance called Costco.
Lorenz shoots Victor a look like giving too much.
Nah, but I know who you mean. I seen them when they were searching the house. Not the first time, second time. The big house. When I arrived in the morning, turned up for work, place was already ransacked, there's guards everywhere, and I seen this fella walk out. I know who you mean. Furs and stuff, right? Yeah. Everyone was fucking afraid of him. He was the boss.
Confirms my suspicions.
Now, this merchant fella, where did he usually go when he was out of town? What was he a merchant of? What did he usually ship? That kind of thing. The tailor, he's here, we can find him easy. But this merchant fella.
There's a wine merchant. Used to bring wines in and out. And, yeah, mostly through... I don't really know. Pretty sure he just brought them all up on boats, right? But I think some vineyards out of town he was involved with. I know he supplied the booze to the mansion, or to the big house. All the parties was all his. It's pretty good stuff, if I do say so.
Local wines at local vineyards. Okay.
Well, local, also from home. Like I said, he's one of us. He's sort of import and export, you know. Good on him, I say. He's not, you know, not a firstborn. He's a knob, but he's not a firstborn. And he's out there, he's working hard. Good on him, I say. Making his own fortune.
And what are these other nobles?
I don't know, there's some woman. Real fancy. Real fancy. Too fancy for the big house. She, looked like this sort that lives out of town, right? On the estate sort of thing. Only come around a few times, but she looked nice.
Ever catch a name?
No. You know how it is, certain strata, it's all miladies and lords at that point.
That's true.
Did she have any hangers-ons that came up with her? Servants, the like.
She had a man. They normally got a man, but he don't have anything to do with us.
House colours or house sigils?
No. No, always pretty discreet, but she was a knob, no hiding it. Had 10 years worth of my salary hanging off her ears.
Was there anything that happened around the time she started frequenting with these people? Was there any kind of time she came back a bit strange? Like she went off on her own without any servants or anything coming with her?
She'd go out occasionally. We wouldn't go with her, you know, we were in the house. It's our job to look after the house. She'd go wherever she wanted. She'd occasionally go out. You know, it wasn't always parties at our place. Sometimes she'd go elsewhere. But yeah, only on the nights that Sir was busy, when he was over doing the sermons, which has been happening a lot of late as things have gotten, well, you know. Look, like I said, I can't blame her. Sir, he is a right dour. He was all fire and brimstone on the podium, but at home, statue, mate, wasn't the most passionate, exciting.
And you have no idea what happened to your sir? At all? No guess?
Well, look, I don't know if you've noticed, things are a wee bit tense around here. I imagine he probably just said the wrong thing a few too many times. I don't know.
Did he ever complain about having anyone that was a particular pain for him? Did he ever complain about getting followed, that kind of thing?
No, all he'd complain about was the bridge. Didn't like the checkpoints, didn't like the toll, all of that. Said it made his life miserable having to go through, sign through every night. Apart from that, to be honest, didn't really talk to us too much. Wasn't very friendly. Got to know, the lady because she was lonely. We was the best she had there for a wee while. And then, yeah. But, he'd come home and go study, read his books, focus on his faith.
Do you know about the lady drawing above her bed on the roof ceiling?
No.
Is he lying?
Roll of praise.
$22, 10 plus 12.
He's uncomfortable. If it's a lie, it's not a very big one, but it's the conversation's going in a direction he's not comfortable with.
Look, a lot of people, there's nothing wrong with going to a different church, hanging out with different people. We're just here to find out that she's safe and well, and maybe what happened to Sir, and try and keep this from becoming a bigger problem. If you know anything, you best tell us the old truth.
Here's another big long draw on that pipe, and you can see him thinking about it. When he looks up at the other fellow who's like, you may as well, Albie. You told him everything else. Right, look, you're getting me out here. It's not just me, he's coming. Two of us. We're out of here. Alright?
I sort of scale and I say, depends how good your information is.
Look, one time, she had this friend, right? They'd paint together, paint pictures, right? And I was always painting pictures of like suns and moons, Lunar, Solarius. So that's nice, But, had to hide it from Sir, and I understandably why, he wouldn't be very happy with it. But one time, this thing he painted, this wasn't right. It was just monsters all through it, and they was fighting, and it was weird. Like, there was like birds, but not. And like, the sun looked angry, real angry. And the other thing, he used to just start staring into nothing.
I'm trying to remember the painting we saw from in that like old crone's house.
The wood carving, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a darkness with like tendrils reaching up towards the sun that was frowning down at it.
I'd probably just describe that back to him.
Yeah. But like, he sort of looks around and his shoulders drop a bit. You ever Have you ever looked at a picture and that thing fucking, like, look back at you? Like, in you know, like, when you look at it, like, you know how your eyes follow you around, right? But, like, this was a bit like that. But it looked fucking through me, mate.
Can't say I have. But he might have been a very good painter.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't him. It was her. She did it, I think. I didn't see him doing it. I just went in there, went to go make the bed, seen that, covered it up, made the bed because it was fucking looking at me, got real uncomfortable like, and then the next day it was gone.
And when was this?
The accent's having a hard time in his throat. Maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago. But mate, this, like, he's got 1,000 yards to here at this point. When you look at it, right, like they fucking moved, mate. Like, it's like, I don't fucking know.
But you're saying it's some sort of witchcraft?
No, it's just a fuck with your head. It's just, maybe it's a real good fucking painting. I don't know, I'm no artist.
Do you happen to know who the painter is?
No, I don't. I ain't seen him for a while too.
What about even describing him?
Tall, lanky, massive fucking Adam's apple. Grey hair, pretty closely cropped. Nose on him like a hook. Oh,
Stelson Strasslander.
Native, I think. I think he's from around here. Oh no, he was a bit of a weird one. But I ain't seen him in a while. He stopped coming around after that.
Right.
But it made me, like, I don't know how you could draw that. Like, that's not what the, like, in that moment, right, I understood why we're not supposed to draw the lords. He points up and he says that. Because if what that was is not what is in the book. It's not what we're sold. That's not what my grandma told me when I was a wee lad.
Well, it's one painting. What arm could it do?
You tell you ain't seen it.
Got anything else, Victor?
It's gone now, isn't it, the painting?
Oh, yeah, it's been gone for a wee while. I think maybe she knew I seen it. I covered it up.
Could have been. Wasn't coming here looking for stories about paintings, but this is rather unsettling stuff, isn't it? And if it is true that you could paint paintings to, I don't know, could unsettle quite a few people. Do you think the Sir ever saw any of this?
If he'd have seen that, yeah, no, I don't. I'd be surprised if he did.
Well, I don't know. I don't know where this is gonna take us with the paintings, Lorenz.
Well, thinking back on it, she had to have. That's not a usual thing to be to know about to paint, right? That's got to come from somewhere. Someone's got to tell her about that sort of imagery. Did anyone in her little groups or parties have similar kind of iconography on their persons?
Anyone who's a painter, or let's even call them a person with ideas. Someone who would tell her how this is done.
Well, everyone who came was pretty onto it, right? They're pretty intelligent lot, talkative, academic-like. Even the tailor, he seemed to know a thing or two. They had that vibe about him. And he points towards Victor. You know what it's like when you're around people smarter than you. You get that feel.
Well, sometimes I meet people who've read more books than me. Don't make them smarter than me. But yes, I know how I feel. Especially those that've been reading stuff that makes them feel that they know more about the world than anyone else.
Right.
I know, but...
Especially them knobs, right? They ain't got to work hard like the rest of us. They them dilettantes.
Were any of these more dilettantous than others? Seem like truly inspired lot? Or were they all the same?
Oh, no, I wasn't really privy to much of their goings on.
Oh well. Trying to see if there's a cult leader. Yeah.
Liam, just tell us who the cult leader is.
Do it now.
Oh yeah, his name's
His name is Bob Baltic.
One time we're going to do that. We're just going to be like, oh, Simon, what was the name of the cult leader again? We're just going to be
He's like, his
Adolf
name is...
was the ambassador. The ambassador, Adolf. Like, oh yeah, thanks, Liam.
yeah, Charlie Coltonstein. There's that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what are we going to do with this chap? He's sitting here all nervous, telling us about this painting. Do you think we can get something more out of this fellow? Should we leave it as is?
Oh, I think we've got plenty already. If anything else springs to mind, I'm sure he's going to tell us. Isn't that right?
Oh, yes.
Now the question is, how are we getting both back to that Strassland house?
I guess we're going up the fucking sewer again, aren't we?
No.
No?
No, I think, as the ambassador says, they get deliveries every day. Pop them in one of those, send them in.
Might as well.
Best way to get in without much attention is a party of 4.
I guess. Are we having this conversation with an earshot of them, I guess?
I know, are you?
Yeah.
Because
we could be clustered on one side of the room, just having all this
yeah, because
conversation.
one little thing is, of course, that, well, if they might want to follow us immediately to back to Streisandhouse.
Well, we ain't going back in the sewers. You can see how easy to spot those two are. They're not exactly a casual bunch.
Yeah, that's true. Let's just take them. We'll just have to wait a little bit and we'll get them in.
I mean, my first option was just put them in a rug and carry a rug in. Delivering a rug to Strassland House with one of the fellas in it. But, we haven't been followed here at least, so we can probably get pretty close to Strassland House before anyone spots us.
Yeah.
I mean, Liam, is there any carts or carriages that you can hire?
Probably. Yeah, should be able to.
Otherwise, I might just take him in a carriage, just pop off right in front of the place, get him out, walk him right in. Only got to go 5-10 meters. We don't care anyone sees that we have him.
Yeah, I mean, we're not Erkenkrantz and Lawrence Townsend. We're normal villagers, aren't we? Men about town. No one would suspect anything.
Right, I reckon we go hire a carriage.
Now, getting a cart is easy. Getting the livestock to pull it is a different story.
No, but
I mean like a carriage, like a horse and carriage.
That's probably quite expensive. We're starting to get to like quite rich level of transport there.
No, but like people who people who just sort of cart people around town if they need somewhere with like lots of stuff.
Probably
like,
the equivalent of a man with a van.
Yeah.
Probably. You could probably find something like that. Obviously, that introduces a whole nother, degree of people being aware of what's going on.
Yeah, yes.
Well, in this instance, we don't particularly care. It's just getting them close enough.
I mean, in the end, we could also just walk.
Yeah, but then, like, the option of getting intercepted is larger. It's just really getting close enough that when we hop off cart, we're already there and we just walk across the front door.
That is true.
It doesn't have to be an elaborate or like a crazy horrible plan. It's either we go on foot or we pop in a vehicle and hop out.
I mean, yeah,
like take a taxi.
Absolutely, we can arrange for something like that. There will be a luck roll involved for whether or not something goes wrong along the way, however.
Okay. You happy with that, Simon?
Sure, I can roll the luck this time.
It's true, I did roll the last luck, so it's probably around about time you roll luck.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we go out and we tell them that we're going to get them to Streisand as quickly as possible and sort of tell them to put away the fucking blunderbuss because that's shady as fuck. And would you agree to that? Because he can't be logging he can't be carrying a blunderbuss around
town. No.
I think his plan is to take off his jacket and wrap it up in his jacket and carry it under his arm.
Hope he unloads it first.
Don't give him ideas for what happens when the luck roll goes bad.
Sits down on it and it blows up his arse. Anyway, let's get one of these carts then and try to get there. I mean, in the end, it's not that much of a thing. We hire a cart, we get them on it. He rolls up his coat and puts his bloody blunderbuss in it, I guess.
Roll luck.
And we get there fast.
Yeah, I'll roll the luck.
Roll the luck.
Oh, it's a smattering success at 22.
Okay. So, you load up on the trolley, and this is a pretty busy town, so it's not the quickest ride across town.
Permanently reducing my luck again.
You don't reduce your luck when you roll against luck.
Oh, I thought you did. Am I mixing things up again?
You don't you spend luck to add to a roll or re-roll or something like that?
Yeah, but I think you also reduce luck when you roll against luck. Like if you succeed, that's one time you were lucky, so you reduce it, and you can regain your luck after a bit of a
you test your luck, you reduce it.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. Right.
So my luck should be.
You don't have to do it if you don't want to do the luck roll. You don't have to. It's one of those things.
I didn't know that. I thought that was like a thing where like the DM fiat of you're rolling luck, not an opt-in thing. Oh, I need to be more careful because I don't exactly have lots of luck. In fact, I think from this session I'm down to 4 luck from the luck rolls.
So,
and I think Liam said we are not regaining our luck this campaign.
I'm almost out of luck between the graveyard and the alleyway.
Bear that in mind. So, yeah, it's a slow mission across town. A few tense moments, but for the most, like, because you just feed, pushing your way through crowds. There is occasionally you see red sashes. They don't seem to acknowledge you or recognize you in any way. And you get your way to Strussland House. You're fairly confident you haven't been followed. And then you get these two guys in, and through the door. And you have safely extradited them from the CBD of town.
Nice.
Yeah,
Excellent.
that's a win. We can put that in the win basket for now. They're safe inside the house. You are increasing. Obviously, one thing that you'd be aware of is this whole idea of like the immunity that is the embassy only extends so far, right? And you are aware that the more wanted people you put in there, including yourselves, the more likely you are to have stuff boil over. It's something to be aware of. If anyone was watching the entrance and they knew what Albrecht looked like, they'd have a pretty good idea that Albrecht is secreted away inside Strussland House at the moment.
Yeah, we should have made him put on a cloak with a hood. Something else subtle.
I mean, I was pretty, like, I think he's lower level enough in the wantedness that, like, and again, in a week, 2 weeks, I actually think that they'd have the information that they'd need anyway without having him, and they wouldn't really care. Like, I think he's like, oh, we'd like to have him. It's not like we're hiding Osama bin Laden in the embassy. Put it that way. You're not going to see him in black helicopters.
So, what's the plan now? You've got a few leads just to jog your memories. He gave you a couple of names you could potentially look into.
A lot of names.
You also know that obviously there is something to be found at the gate because that's where Maynard went, and you have the name, seemingly at least, of the person that Maynard's currently looking for, as far as you could tell. And obviously, you could always go down to the Imperial Palace and say hello.
We were giving him a day to find information out.
Yeah.
You could always go
Let's
find
not
out
go
about
in
that
there.
if you wanted.
Hasn't been a day, it's only been a night.
Yeah. Fair point.
I mean, yeah, but always wait.
We've got plenty of. We've got Taylor Lipsky. He's definitely around, and he's going to be in the old town. But the wine merchant who's out of town, based upon what Maynard's told us, is some real fancy noble woman and other noble types. Painter friend. I mean, we don't need to meet with the ambassador, but I might leave a note to hand off to him to see if he can provide me with information about who this painter might be based upon the description. Just handing off what we got from this meeting without having to actually meet him, just putting it in note form to be delivered with asking, hey, do you know, have you got any information about the vineyard locations for this wine merchant, who this noble woman might be. I'm thinking we might go see Lipsky today. Like, that might be the thing we do this afternoon. So we don't really need anything about that. Yeah. Because we've got a definite and someone who's out of town, and then descriptions of others. If we can find the identities of those people with the descriptions, specifically the painter, I would be quite interesting to talk to the painter.
The extremely rich noblewoman could probably be pretty easy to identify. but has the same access issues that all rich people have. Difficult to get to.
And it's not that suspicious us going to see a tailor.
No. Still, I mean, I need to adjust my my garb here.
It's good cover. Get some new clothes.
Well, should we do that then?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll hand off that note. Will be passed to him.
Which note, sorry?
Just a note asking for if he has any information about the vineyard locations for the wine merchant von Strum. If he knows of any reputable painters that have this description. That we're chasing down some leads. And if he knows who this noble woman is providing the description that was given to us.
Okay. Yep, you pass that note on, and that's something that will be looked into for you. What else are you doing? You're now going to the tailor, yeah? Okay.
I'm pretty sure that based upon that, and the fact that he's a tailor in Old Town, it should be pretty easy to actually find him.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a name, you can ask around, that's quite easy to do. Are you coming and going freely? You're still sneaking in and out of the embassy? What are you doing here?
No, I don't think we'd be sneaking for this.
So are we washing up and getting into our usual clothes, or are we still going around in there? That's a
We could go in our
decision to-
usual clothes, I think. Because we're going to see a tailor. Like, it's supposed to be... Like, my idea is it's not unusual, so why would we be making an appearance to be sneaking when we're doing something that's extraordinarily...
commonplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in a new city, makes sense to go visit a tailor at some point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get some new clothes.
So you head towards Old Town. You get directions from one of the embassy staff, and you find this tailor, and it is like it's not a particularly upper class part of town, but it is more respectable than, say, like it's the mid tier of town really. And you find this tailor. That is, it's a small shop. It is an actual fixed location. It's not like a street stall or anything like that. It's an actual store, inside which is looms of different cloth and things like that. And it's one of these places where you go in and they measure you up and they make you what you want, as well as fix equipment and things like that. You arrive, and you arrive. You're outside on the street, out in the cobbles. It's a fairly sort of like it's not on a main street. It's down like a side alley, because the Old Town is a bit of a warren. There's lots of things going on. This is where you had that scrap with the guy tailing you a couple of sessions ago. So you make your way down one of these alleys, and you find this tailor with a sign, with like a weather-beaten sign hanging out over the door with like a thread and a needle on it, and with like a window in the front showing some of their handiwork. Do you just head on in? What's the plan?
I'll turn to Victor and say, right, so first plan, I think, because we don't know exactly what the group's connection is, we play it cool. I'm an old friend, Freda's happens to be in town. In her letters to me, she recommended this place as where she got her clothes. I turn up and she's not here. I was gonna call in on her.
There's only one problem with that.
What's that?
And if it isn't
what?
If it isn't the place she got her clothes, he will know immediately that you're lying.
Well,
You could say that it's a place you recommended. A friend's tailor, you
fine.
know.
I just thought that the fella that we were interviewing said that he came and picked stuff up from here.
Yeah,
But that's
just
fine.
yeah, it's just
Recommend
that,
it's fine.
just a thing. If that's wrong, could be in big trouble immediately.
That's fine. Oh, by the way, you're my bodyguard. That makes sense. You look like the bodyguard kind.
Oh well. At some point, I'm gonna say you work for me. Okay.
Oh, I'm sure it will happen. I'm sure you probably already said that I'm your assistant or something.
So, you head into this place?
Yeah.
Okay. So you head in, and as I say, there's large sort of reams of cloth and things around the place and stuff like that, and it's not super exquisite. You know what I mean? But it's good quality stuff. This isn't someone who's tailoring for royalty or real high-end lords and ladies. Matter of fact, probably not even to the level to actually have been looking after Frida, considering her lineage. But still good quality stuff. Still, this is the sort of person a merchant would come to. That sort of a thing. So, and there's some fine wares around the place. Sort of hanging from the walls and stuff like that. It's unlike a modern day clothing store. There's not like there's just racks of clothes. It's all bespoke, but
Tailor-made, if you will.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, and you walk in, and there is a woman who's currently working on something, like sitting off to one side, sort of behind a counter. I guess you can see her sort of sewing something. And she looks up and welcomes you, greets you to the store.
Oh, greetings. Is Master Lipskian?
No, he's away on business. But it's perfectly fine. I'm more than capable of helping him. I've been working alongside my husband for some time.
Oh, I suppose you'll do. New in town, I think it's probably best I get a garb that marks me as an outsider and get some more local custom clothes.
She's like, oh, yeah, no, we can do that. Absolutely. Do you happen to know your measurements?
That's a really good question. I don't know if Lorenz would know his measurements. Actually, no, this will be normally I have a servant that does this for me, but I'm travelling light at the moment.
She's perfectly happy to get up and do the measuring for you, which she does, if you allow her. And
I imagine we're having a conversation while she's doing the measuring.
Bit of small talk, yeah. So where is Sir from?
Oh, Strussland, if it isn't obvious. Come and go though, travelling quite a lot. Hence why, when I was coming here, I made sure to bring more of a bodyguard than a servant. From what I hear from the troubles.
So, do you get to go anywhere exciting?
I think you'll find most places aren't as exciting as they sound.
Because I wouldn't know. I'm born and raised here. What does Sir do?
Often I'm a bit of a trader. Commodities, and when places are in trouble or there's a bit of a downturn in the local commodities, I'll come in and I'll assess the prices and bring what is needed in on ships. Make a lot of profit that way.
Oh, what's needed here?
Well, what with the ravaging of the countryside, a lot of food. Food is always in short demand. You go to the other side of town near the cathedral and you can see them all the refugees here. The squalor, just absolutely horrible. So if I had anything to bring, I'll bring a whole bunch of grain.
Yeah, she does seem quite put off actually thinking about it. She's like, yeah, it's quite horrible, really. It's a shame. If only everyone could just sort of get along.
Quite right. You know, my friends that live out here, you know, well, one of them actually recommended this place. But yeah, not the things she sent back in her letters. Made me very, very worried. So I thought maybe if I came out here, I could, you know, have a chat to her. But it seems, well, let's just say I'm very glad I brought a bodyguard.
Why has something happened to her?
Well, she's disappeared, isn't she? Sad business.
She goes, oh, who's that?
Oh, it'd be, my old friend Freda von Hoffman.
Oh, you know Freda. Oh, and she's vanished. That's sad.
Yes, she would often send messages home to her family, her friends. Quite lonely, it sounds like. Poor girl. Off on the far end of the world. Husband not very happy with her. Not the best kind of marriage. Not many friends either.
She's like, oh. And it's the polite kind of, oh, like, this is none of my business.
Doesn't seem anybody knows what happened to her either.
That's sad. I hope she turns up. She's a good customer.
I'm trying to appraise her to see how well, like if she's doing the thing where she's listening to get information to pass on, or whether it's more of a service-oriented thing, or whether she's hiding, like if she's being deceptive in any way, essentially.
Roll of praise.
Natural 20, 32.
It's absolutely customer small talk.
But she knows nothing. I don't think she knows anything.
She's entertaining your discussion, that's it.
Oh, she was a customer here. All I had was she recommended you.
Oh, well, yeah, mostly through her servant. But she had some bits and pieces done. Not so much her clothing, but, you know, quilts and things. Did bits and pieces around for her.
But you mainly deal with her, or was it your husband? I don't mind me asking.
Generally with our more respectable clientele, the husband would work with them as, well, you know, it's a status thing.
Indeed. And your husband's on business, is he?
Yes. Yes, he's away sourcing product further south.
Does it seem she's misdirecting with that? Like it's an easy lie that she's selling?
No, the 20 still counts. Yeah. He's off business. Sourcing wool and other goods.
Oh, okay. Well, would have been nice to talk to him, see if he knew anything about what was going on with her. It's not like her to just vanish.
Well,
Letters stopped.
When did she vanish?
Oh, I don't know exactly. All I know is when I get any messages from her, when I normally do, right before I left set sail over here. I've been gone. And I sort of snap my fingers towards Victor. Oh, how long have I been gone from the homeland for, Victor?
Since you left home? I think that was 3 months ago.
Right, there you go. 3 months. 3 months.
She's like, oh. Oh, that's, you know, this first I've heard of it.
Oh. And when was the last time she came in for a visit?
this point, you're going to have to do a persuade roll. The reason being, you're now asking for personal information.
Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. Let's see. 19 plus 12, 31.
One moment. So she's like, oh, I'll have a look for you. And she pulls out like a purchase order book or an order book. And she starts flicking through and going through and goes, your last order. And she gives you a date. And the date was 2 weeks before she was last seen.
Trying to line up the timeline in my head. 2 weeks before she was last seen. She was last seen, what, like 3 months ago?
No, it was more, you guys got involved when she'd been missing for several weeks. So
Right.
now it's probably been just over a month that she's been missing.
Missing, right.
Yeah.
What was 3 months? 3 months was when she drew that painting. That's what it was.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I said 3 months to make it seem like you've been gone away from home for a long time.
I knew 3 months was an actual thing for something though, and I was trying to remember what it was. Okay, right. That doesn't really get us anything. It doesn't seem out of the ordinary at all. When do you think your husband's gonna be back in town?
Oh, I don't know. It shouldn't be too long now. He's been gone a wee while. A few weeks now.
Oh, perhaps you can pass a message on if I'm still in town. When he gets back, I'd love to just have a chat.
Sure thing. How would he get in touch with you?
Shit. I'm like,
That word destroys an house.
I was like, is that really bad if I say that?
By the way, because of your really good appraisal roll, when she pulls open that order book, a lot of information in there. There's a lot of clients and customers in there, but also you can tell they write down every order. So in theory, you could look up and see just how often she'd been coming and going if you got that book.
Yeah, if I got the book. I was thinking if he does tailoring for her, he might do tailoring for other people. And
maybe she could. Maybe I could get tailored too, and you can have a look.
How attentive does she look? Like, in terms of how observant is she of what's going on around her? How much attention has she paid Victor?
Well, because she's been focused on you and measuring you up and stuff, and you're the customer. You've had the lion's share of her attention.
Okay. I'm just trying to think in my head whether I want to... Well, I'll provide the address of Strussland House. It's whatever. I don't have any lie to give her that would be convincing, I don't think.
So she writes down the address and goes, and what was your name?
I need to come up with cover names way faster than I do.
Dretz von Scots. I don't know.
I mean, you could provide one for me, speaking on Lorenz's behalf. If you want to sell the servant idea, I don't know. Just be like El Tao.
El Tao.
Like L. Tao.
Yeah.
Could you please roll a charlatan roll for me, please, Sean?
Yes. Nay. This is where my character has to be better than me. 13 plus 11, 24.
Okay. Yeah, she seems to buy it, and she writes down what you tell her on like a spare piece of paper and puts it in the front cover of the book and puts the book away underneath her desk, her thing. And she's like, so, would Sir like to choose some, fabrics and things? And she directs you towards the various spools, and basically she's measured you up. At this point, you need to pick and choose what it is your clothes are being made out of.
I'm gonna go through a whole thing of. I'm gonna sort of signal to Victor as best I can, sort of like we make eye contact. I'm hoping he picks up what I'm putting down about. Maybe have a look in the book, and I'm going to make a big show take a long time umming and ahhing over each individual cloth and fabric.
Okay.
Haggling over price and quality and things like that.
And Victor, so you get this weird look done towards you. What? what happens there?
If he sort of indicates the book with his face, like if you were making a big show, maybe like Victor would be like, maybe I'd like a coat as well. I'll have a look at this. And he sort of goes up to the thing and he's like, takes his, and then he makes a show of sort of taking the book. He doesn't take it. What he does is like he puts his hand on his sword and then he sort of turns around looking at something, and the book goes to the floor and he's like, oh dear, oh no, and he picks it up and he takes a quick look in it and he puts it back.
Subtle,
to see if they notice.
So
notice.
subtle. Well, I'm being all like, well, I don't know. That weave might be rough on my skin.
Now here's the thing: I'm making a show of being a little bit clumsy with it, and then putting it back. And like, if she reacts with like panic or anything, I'll just put it back. And if she like, then I'll sneak a look as she's continuing.
All right, look, I tell you what. You roll. It's an opposed roll. You roll stealth. I'll roll spot, and we'll see.
Opposed silliness roll. Yeah.
Opposed stupidity.
Hey.
It's opposed. You could be stupid and she could be stupider, and that's good enough.
Yeah, for me that's 18.
Okay, I rolled a natural 1, so she's utterly oblivious. She is so focused on the guy who clearly has the money that she doesn't give a fuck about the help. So you've basically
that's that servant career working out.
Yes, you're just blending into the background, and you've got the book in your hand.
Yeah. So I do all that, and I notice that she isn't paying any attention. I'm like, and I open it and I look through it, looking for Frida's name. I'm trying to find the first entry and seeing what the writing, because Lawrence hasn't told me what to look for. So I'm looking for Frida's entries.
Okay.
And
so are you sort of going from the start of the book, and there's this every line's in order?
No, I'm going from the last entry to the like the latest to back, basically.
Okay.
Because
so the last entry was for a sturdy outdoor cloak, right? Like a very thick outdoor cloak that it's down as like a heavy wool cloak. And as you start flicking back, you see lots of small orders, lots of, there's not much sort of coming from her. It's little things here like repair this outfit, things like that. You do notice a couple of orders for large amounts of canvas, though. Like a couple of rolls of canvas. And then, some other things as well. At one point she had curtains made, netting curtains actually, and things like that. There's lots of little knickknacks here and there. It does have her address on it, and it's often written in that it's done by proxy. The canvas she bought herself. She didn't send someone else to fetch for her. Are you looking for anything?
So that would be like canvas you would use to paint?
Potentially, yep.
Or something else?
Is there anything else that you're looking for?
I mean, if I see any of the names I know of, I would of course react to it. But like, I'm not the person who had the idea. So, and he has not communicated it to me. So I
can't communicate it to you.
Yeah, I mean the problem is like, I could say like, I look for everything that Lawrence said I should look for, but then again, he didn't tell me. I mean, if I see any of the other names on the list that we've had mentioned, or anything else that sticks out to me, I'd look at it. But like, yeah, not super actively looking at anything else.
I mean, I think the only one that might stick out to you is if you find Von Strom's name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Von Strom. Another thing is if. But then again, why that wouldn't show up here because this is an order book. I was like, maybe they could see like if he has an address book and like meetings and stuff that this guy has been to, and like you could see that he's been to her house or anything, but that would not be in this book. So.
Von Strom, because of the one, I'll give it to you for free. Von Strom is a very regular customer. He's in here ordering bits and pieces a lot. He's got his own purchase order number, actually, as does Frida. They've got their own sort of initials that are used to indicate towards them. So clearly they keep a record of their regular customers. So he's got his own purchase order entry, and he just basically has an account here that he racks stuff up on credit. And you can see he's a very common customer. He's a man who clearly quite likes fine clothing. He buys clothing often. Again, hasn't bought anything in sort of over a month.
Did he also order a sturdy cloak?
He ordered
and a lot of canvas.
We find an order for fine outdoorsman's clothes. Tweed suit. Anyway, no. No,
it was mostly just he ordered it seems like a number of ceremonial clothing, like what you'd wear to an event at a church or something.
White robes with a hood.
Yeah, not with the hood though, but like a white robe, golden robe, but also on top of that some fine clothing as well. There's some generally several outfits. He's the sort of guy that when he orders, it's 3 or 4 different outfits. You can tell he's probably the kind of guy that doesn't like being seen in the same thing twice.
Does it have his address in there?
Where are you looking for the address?
I mean, if I'm looking at his orders and like if I see that he has an order number, you could easily look up the order number, right? Like the thing that they have, the sort of regular customer thing.
So when you got this book, you did see a second book underneath the counter. It's a much smaller book, and at this point as well, the woman's not as completely in the middle of haggling with Lorenz, like she's somewhere else. So you can grab this little book if you like.
I do.
Cool. So when you grab it, it is full of all of like the account holders. It's a book with maybe 4 or 5 dozen different names in there. And it has their details like their address and things like that. And then there is a number of different people and names and stuff, including Freda and Von Strom.
What does it say?
It's got his...
Do they have large amounts of debt?
No. Actually, none. Neither of them do. They also don't have any entries for credit.
But do they have addresses?
Yep, they have addresses. They have, places where the things are... we already know Freda's, and it's accurate.
Yeah.
And then there's an address there for Von Strom as well. It's got 2 addresses, one for his warehouse over near the docks, and one for his personal residence.
But he doesn't have things delivered to his private vineyard of earth in the... No. Unfortunately.
But there is obviously other names all throughout the book of other people that, but none of them are names that you particularly recognise. But yeah, there is... But yeah, you definitely find those two. The other names could be useful. You don't know. But what you do notice about these two is all the others, they have their current amount owing written, and then they cross out when they're paid off. You notice that despite the number of orders put in place, it appears like Von Strom and Freda, neither of them were actually accruing any debt every time they ordered.
Noticeable. I'll have to tell Lorenz of this. Sort of, Victor sort of says to himself when he shuts the book. It's like, because I don't think I'm going to find out anything else in the book, am I? Probably.
Not quickly, anyway.
No. And I mean, I can't sit there for like 10 minutes reading the bloody book. Well, sorry, I was looking for a place to write down an order.
I was making sure you spelt the address of Strussland House correctly.
Yes, it's actually... there's 2 S's and 1 H. Yeah, I'll sort of put that down and see that I found what I found. I'm not going to find much more. I'm like going to take a look around the place. Actually, now that I'm invisible... Do they have, like, a back room?
Yes, although I will say, at this point, like, going out of the main room is noticeably more obvious than you lingering around in the main area.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait.
And also, there's only so long I can haggle for.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna wait.
This is definitely the sort of store where they live in the store as well, either behind it or above.
Yeah.
So, like,
that's what I thought.
This is definitely their residence as well. So it's entirely possible that there's a lot of random shit in here that's useful to you. It's just the how far do you want to push it? Is kind of what we're getting at here.
Yeah. I mean, if I was a sneaky type, I'd probably sneak upstairs and have a look.
Only had an assassin in the party to go sneak around.
But I'm not a sneaky type. I'm a walrus man. No, more or less. So yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, I'm gonna wait for Lawrence to finish.
And what did you do with the book? Sorry.
I didn't pocket it. It would be pretty obvious very soon that we've stolen it, and like stealing accountancy books is probably not good. Like that's an actual crime, and we're pretty obvious.
Stab a fella up in the alleyway, no problem. Steal an accounting book.
Commit fraud. No, thank you.
To be fair, you have given them your address. So,
exactly. This is not the kind of thing you do with a brain. If you have a brain, you don't steal accountancy books after giving the address. But yeah, I'll wait for Lorenz to finish up his haggling and all that. Then I'll tell him about what I found.
Yeah, I mean, Lorenz would just agree on a reasonable price, have a small order ready to be shipped to Strussland House when it's good to go.
Yeah, it will take a while, I imagine. Yeah, I'm not entirely...
It's fine.
I'm not sure how long it takes to sew something without a sewing machine. I guess you could have a pedal-powered one? I don't know. But it'll take some time. It'll take, several days for them to get it to you. Or a week or two. But yeah, absolutely. Happy to take your order, takes your money. And yeah, the woman genuinely just seems pretty oblivious to any strange cult-like goings-ons that you guys have partaken in. At this point, it would be getting quite late in the day, I imagine. We're getting towards sort of...
Tailoring session probably takes a while.
Yeah, so I imagine that you've gone through most of your day at this point.
Leave the shop. Probably makes a little tinkling bell sound when we close the door.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Walk 10 meters down the road. Right, what did you get?
I saw that she's been ordering quite a few things. Recently, a sturdy woolen cloak, which is quite suspicious, as we know. But that's not all that important. I found Von Strom's address, and he's also a regular customer. Another thing I noticed, they seem to have been accruing no debt at all. I had a look
So they had paid in advance.
Yeah. Everything seems to have been paid.
So they had a lot of credit in the store.
No.
They had no credit and no debt.
Exactly. It was quite a strange thing.
And who else was paying in the same way?
As far as I could tell. There were a few other people. I didn't see the names. But I mean, I saw the names, but I don't remember them. Some Victor Volkenkrantz and some, I don't know.
Lorenz looks disappointed. Let him down.
I mean, I could have tried to memorize the names, but here's the thing, Lorenz. You didn't tell me what to look for. I did the best I could.
It's okay. I'm just doing the best with the tools I got.
A look. A very, very efficient tool for information. Well. At least I found out the address.
At least you didn't bash the door down like Maynard would have.
No.
And we got one other thing. Seems like they might all be off in the countryside together.
Yes, it's looking quite like it.
Question is, what's the next step?
Well, we could go rummage around Von Strom's house, causing a lot of suspicion. Again. Or we could go after Freda. Maynard is doing that.
Could
I think
steal
we
that
should.
lady's book. I don't know whether the...
If you want to steal the book, you can go ahead and steal it. I'm not.
It's not my kind of... I don't know. Look, I'm the kind of guy that hides in plain sight. Swipes things.
Yes.
Moves
You're
on. I ain't
you're
the
the
kind
kind
of
of
guy
man.
Sneak in through a window. That other people usually do that kind of thing. I did it when I was a lot younger, but it wasn't exactly my speciality.
Well, it ain't mine either, boy.
Okay.
And do we need the book? If you want to have a look at it, it's fine, but I don't see the point.
I think considering the risk involved, potential. Look, we know it's there if we really need to get it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. If we feel the need to steal some poor lady's accountancy book, I'm sure we could pull that off like a charm. But then we have more important business to deal with.
Such as?
We could, for instance, find out where the hell they are out there in the countryside, possibly. And if Maynard is tailing them...
I know one lady that knows of a place out in the countryside with a shrine in it.
Pardon? I don't remember this.
I think this was when you were off with Maynard doing soldier stuff. I don't know.
Aha. Well,
This is when Veronica and I told you guys about it, but maybe you forgot. She was the one that told me about the symbol that was drawn and showed me that wood carving of something that was an awful lot like what that fella Albrecht was describing, the painter, was with Freda painting.
Well,
Very similar.
if there is one place like that, it looks like that could be where the Frida and her friends are located.
Only issue I got is I don't know how far away it is, and I don't know if it's the exact thing. It's one of those, it's a leap, right? We're taking a leap, we're making an assumption and taking a leap, and it'll either pay off or we're gone for 3 days either way, come back and they've learnt nothing. And the leads we do have gone a lot colder.
That's
Like
true.
that little accounting book. It's a risk. And we don't know
course.
what the reward it could be.
Of course.
All
We
we
could also-
know is that
You could
they
also
went out-
storm into the Imperial Palace. That's also a risk. Everything's a bloody risk, Lawrence.
Good, you're catching on. You're learning. It's only taken how many times have we had to do this sort of thing together before you started picking up on it? And they say you can't teach old dogs new tricks.
I'm not that old.
You're old for a mercenary.
You're old for a shit. Anyway, let's get on with it.
You got a temper of an old man.
Now shut up, little coot. No. No.
Now you listen here, you little shit stain.
Yeah. Anyway, let's not start a fight in the alley here. So,
Won't
what do
be
we
the
want to do?
first time.
Well, and that time I was there to save you.
Well, yeah. So you have a lot of
recall.
leads. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
we do have a lot of leads. That's the problem, is now we've got too many leads.
Okay, so
We've been too
do
successful.
we-
What do we do?
do we want to go to the Imperial Palace? Do we want to go to the weird countryside mansion and do the culty stuff? Or do we want to do something else with the other stuff?
Well, we said we'd give the ambassador a day. It's coming towards the end of that day.
Mm-hmm.
So he might have a way of us, whatever the Imperial Palace is. That might be, because at the moment it's not really open to us because it's too risky. Because we don't know enough. So we might get something that tells us to take that. We might not have any information, in which case we do something else. There's more things we can do in the city. We can go after Crumb's warehouse. We also might have information about who this painter is. We haven't inquired as to the painter.
What
Or we
feels
could-
what feels the most pressing, honestly? Like, if we look at what our characters actually think here, what would they actually be prioritizing?
Well, von Hoffman Senior. Oh, sorry, Bishop. Whatever the male fella. I can't remember his first name. He's like, the trail for him is cold.
Victor.
Yeah.
Victor.
Victor von Hoffman.
It's got so many Victors.
Yes.
Yeah, Victor von Hoffman. His trail's cold and it hasn't warmed up at all. All we have for that was that he was taken by the Red Sashes
On the bridge.
across the bridge in the middle of the night. I can't remember whether he was heading east or heading west.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, we've actually found, I think, 0 evidence to help that investigation. But
Maybe it's at the Imperial Palace.
Shut up, you.
You
Quiet,
have,
you.
especially since
That's-
talking to Albrecht, you have been pretty focused on the lady. Yeah, like all the evidence he gave you was regarding her and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
It's definitely, we'd have to chase up with, if we wanted to find out what happened to, see, we either chase after her in the hopes that it leads to some answer, or that whole pathway we'll get a result of whether she's safe or not, but it won't tell us anything. It might just be we find her and she's here and she's safe and she doesn't want to go back. And she believes in this heresy now, congratulations. But it doesn't tell us anything about Victor. Meanwhile, the reason what happened with him, we'd have to, I think, look into the Red Sashes in Nicia and the local palace.
Yeah, so in any case, I think we should wait until the evening and get the report from the ambassador, and then we know which path to take. If they say like, oh yes, we can provide you with blah blah blah, so that you can have relative diplomatic immunity going there, or I can accompany you or something like that, then let's go, perhaps.
Yeah. An
So
official
maybe-
function or something.
Yeah, maybe we can do that. And then we can start to take our decision. For real. I mean, it's like, we can't really like, yes, we're going to the countryside now.
I know, right?
Like,
Yeah.
so,
I think we'll end up there. It's just, when do we end up there? At what point
Yeah.
are we happy that we're not overlooking something critical before we head there and walk into an ambush where we get killed by cultists?
hey, I've never been killed by a cultist in my entire life. It's not going to happen this time either.
Won't get fooled again. Alright, so we're heading back to Strussland House. Seems to be a common theme. And seeing if there's a report waiting for us.
Yeah.
So you arrive at Strussland House, and you walk in, and when you arrive, the Adolf Kraus is indisposed. He's currently busy. So you go to your sort of designated dining room, and when you walk in, old mate Maynard is sitting there. He has his boots up on the table, and he's got a drink in his hand. When he sees you walk in, it's like, I wondered when the cat would drag you two back.
I'm surprised to see you're still alive, boy.
Well, old boy, yeah, I'm harder to kill than I may look.
Did you manage to find something out in the woods? Or wherever you went?
I haven't left the city, old boy. No, I went to the gate. I went there because I figured if someone left, they'd have had to have gone through the gate. Freda, the naughty girl, went with a crew of people not long after sunset.
We also found out a few things. We found out that one of these people who have been accomplices.
If you said she went with a wine merchant, then the wine merchant is Von
Strom was the name.
Von Strom.
Although the guard, after a bit of persuading, mentioned some others, but he didn't know them. He just recognized Von Strom as he was a regular.
Was one of them a tailor?
No idea. The guard didn't exactly have
Wow.
details written down. He was just recollecting what he could. And once I was done with him, his memory wasn't the finest.
Oh,
Yes,
brilliant.
you tend to
man.
have that effect on people. Was one of the individuals particularly noble looking?
Don't know.
A woman.
It all sounded rather cliche, really. They were mostly in cloaks and looking to leave town. There's a group of them, half a dozen or more, on horses.
Well, as I was saying, we found out that at least one of these other friends, acquaintances of hers, has also left the city to an.
Well,
To
the
another.
wine merchant and the tailor.
Yeah. But she was already leaving with the mine merchant, so that's not so.
And they're all part of that little group she was meeting with in her house.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they've all decamped out into the countryside for whatever reason.
Now,
Oh, and
one
Especially if you said it was half a dozen or so.
Now, one thing I find rather curious is they left before he was taken. Up until now, I'd assumed that she left because he was taken. She was going to safety. But perhaps we have things the wrong way around.
it could be. She could have been leaving prematurely. She might have known about this thing all along.
Like I said, she could have organised it. Was one of the possibilities.
We've been discussing that for a long time. Your little girl here might be a little more nefarious than we think.
doesn't really bother me. It's no skin off my nose. I just have to get her back.
Now, if depending on how much of it into that little unorthodox faith she was into, there might be a leap of logic, because I know someone who's knows where a nearby shrine is out in the countryside. Does that sort of thing. Bit of a leap of logic. They might not be hidden out there as that sort of place. They could just be going to one of this wine merchant's vineyards out in the country. Wouldn't know.
Sounds like a reach, old boy.
Well, I mean, I did find out that they've been buying. This merchant has been requisitioning some rather ceremonial garb the last while. Seems like there's some sort of weird business going around. Could be to a shrine. But yes, it is a little bit of a reach, I agree.
Well, a lead's a
I
lead.
put all my cards out on the table.
And I assume you've heard, Maynard, that I have been invited to the Imperial Palace.
Really, old boy?
You haven't heard?
You? You're not.
Oh yes, I was invited by
Koskov Ivanovich.
Koskov Ivanovich, probably the leader of these, the Nissian leader of this operation.
You're not.
For the investigation.
Yeah.
You're not of the.
It was quite a suspicious thing.
You're not of the stock I'd have assumed to have been invited to the palace. Why you?
Well, I might have told a few white lies to this man about what I'm doing here, but yeah. He approached me outside here, and we had a small discussion about things. He seems interested in preventing the war. That's a good Nissian would, I assume. But it could easily be a ruse.
They would. Yellow bellies, the lot of them. Well, frankly, I don't care about the palace. I don't care about the war or any of that. I'm here for one thing and one thing only. So, are you going to that shrine? Or are you going to go look into any of these others? I went and had a look at the merchant's house. There's no way I could get in there quietly. Not me, anyway.
It doesn't seem to be in your disposition to do things quietly, my friend.
No, not really. There is a time and a place. However, old boy, this was not the time or the place. So, unless you want to help me get in there or lead me to this shrine, I might cut east and see what I can find.
Well, I'm waiting on the ambassador. He's supposed to be reporting on a couple of things so we can narrow down our choice. I wouldn't mind approaching about this shrine. I just don't know how far away it is, how out of the way it is, how much time we might lose getting there.
Well, I think we should get the report from the ambassador and see about our course of action after that. It's quite simple.
We wouldn't head out tonight anyway.
At this point, one of the aides of the ambassador calls you through. So you're taken through to Adolf Kraus, and he's sort of sitting there reading a piece of paper in front of him. And as you come in, he looks up and goes, you should take a seat.
All right.
What are those conversations, is it?
Your newfound friend is Koskov Boleslaw Ivanovich, Witchfinder General of Nisia. He's not the sort of person to make an invitation that you refuse. He's not the sort of person to care about diplomatic immunity, and he's not the sort of person to care about the sanctity of the building, nor the peace between our nations. If he's made you an invite, I dare say, chap, you better fucking go.
Oh well, that settles my mind. I feel much safer now. But I assume I have to.
If he's here... The Witchfinders in this here aren't like those we have at home. They are somewhat more political, we think. They don't tend to burn people, they tend to burn towns. And we often have assumed that they do so for political reasons. Or he could be a zealot. I don't know.
He didn't exude an aura of zealotry to me. But it may be possible.
I'm not going to lie to you, Victor. You're not the easiest person... Sorry, you're not the hardest person to fool in the world.
When have I ever been fooled in your company, eh?
I'm not trying to.
Alright. Sure. That is what you say. Sure, it's true. Well, it seems that I have to get myself to the Imperial Palace anyway. It's not like I have much choice. What do you say, Ambassador?
Well, my fear is that what happens if you don't?
I didn't mention the word Witchfinder now that I think about it. Oh, that's quite unfortunate. Lawrence, will you come with me?
Please?
Or should I have to? Should I go at this alone for once?
Victor, no man's life isn't above service to the Empire. I will go with you.
I better get paid for this one.
Besides, if we haven't had much contact with Nisia, any meeting with someone like the Witchfinder General is going to be very useful intelligence. Even the personnel file on them will be beneficial to the Kaiser.
Oh yes, indeed. And to be honest, if he wanted to grab us, if he is the Witchfinder General, have us tortured for no reason, I assume he could do it whenever he wanted to.
Well, the fact that he's built enough of a mystique to leave our good friend Adolf quaking in his boots means he's obviously doing a pretty good job in the propaganda department.
True.
No man is infallible.
No.
But I don't doubt his reputation. If he's managed to get these red sash thugs on a leash, he's obviously got enough respect in Nissian quarters.
Oh yes, they seem to be following him like very, very loyal dogs. So it's not all too common.
And I think it will be very beneficial if we find out he's also trying to prevent an escalation of hostilities. And if he's trying to create hostilities, that would be just as valuable to know.
Yep. Well, I'll go. Maynard, are you coming? Or isn't he in the room?
He's not in the room.
Oh, well. Screw it then.
I wouldn't want him going anyway. He wouldn't be able to hold his tongue.
No. Nah, he's far too rabid a dog to send into these courses.
Well, Adolf will either come back with a lot of intelligence, or by us not coming back, the Kaiser's Court will have its answer, wouldn't it?
Well, as I said, Ambassador, I better hell be paid for this one. And Victor stands up. Well, I guess we go in the morning then.
Yeah, the ambassador's a bit sort of shocked. This is the sort of, this is the sort of guy that you wouldn't expect to be here. Like he's
becoming readily apparent he's in a position that requires someone more unflappable than he is. His confidence isn't very good.
No, but also, I mean, he's
competent, but this is above his level of competence.
Yeah.
Quite possibly, yes. So we can rock around to the next morning. So
getting dressed in our ceremonial best.
Yeah.
So in the morning, you get dressed up. Adolf arranges a carriage.
Yeah.
as you taken over to the palace, and you go there. Obviously, you're confronted at the front gate by red sashes. And at first, when you say who you are and why you're there, the red sashes are like, no admittance. And then one of them is interrupted by someone in, it appears to be in a position of authority. He goes off, and you're left waiting for some time. And these red sashes are like eyeing you guys up. And Victor, are you dressed up at all in any of your soldier garb?
I assume they would be taking weapons.
I would tell you to be dressing in your ceremonial best, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably be wearing my nicest
So whatever
clothes.
your battle dress, not whatever your ceremonial dress is for your unit, with your medals and things, I guess.
I don't think we have ceremonial uniforms for mercenaries, but
I don't know.
I would have my fanciest clothes, probably. The things I wear to negotiations when I have to talk to those kinds of folks.
Well, these guys are sort of eyeing you guys up a bit. They're not really tipped off to the fact of who you really are. And then after a while, the guy in charge comes back, and he's escorted by the lean, fit, muscular guy in the with the sash embedded in his vest, in his his breastplate. And he sort of looks you over, and then he sort of nods and talks to them, and then just walks off. And then you're admitted through, where you do have your weapons taken from you. And
what does the Imperial Palace look like? Because we've had the description of Strassland House. What's the contrast between Strassland House and the Imperial Palace?
It's very Muscovite is the way I'd describe it. So like your onion style sort of towers and things like that, and walls all around it. It's been painted in sort of quite vibrant colours. But at the same time, it is also made quite... The engineering of it's very utilitarian. Like, we're talking rough bricks that have been painted over to look good. And then it's got these large sort of these towers, these spires around the edges of it, which have been painted in gold to sort of brandish in the sun, and things like that. It's quite big. as well. It's like, a city block size, with a wall around it, and then lots of smaller buildings within it. Like it's more of a facility than it is a single building. And within it, you have like what would be the main keep and like a castle that's been made out as a palace. So you're sort of led through, through the wall, through the gate, and into the central sort of wall of this place. And then you're sort of marched across the central courtyard, around which are various buildings, small barracks, things like that. And there are soldiers everywhere, many of whom are these red sashes. You actually get to the point, you get the impression that the red sashes are almost acting as Imperial Guard at the moment, as they appear to be everywhere around. I shouldn't say Imperial, it's not an empire, but, Royal Guard, and that they are around.
King's Guard. Household Guard.
They're the most sort of prominent stuff. There are some other soldiers around and heraldry and things like that, but they seem to be mostly relegated to sort of watching doors and smaller roles around the place, whilst the red sashes are the meat of the force here. And at this point, you'd have to guess that the numbers of the red sashes in the city are probably in the hundreds, spread out around the city. Probably 200, 300, 400 around there. But as you make your way across, you're not actually taken to the main part of the palace. You're taken off to the side through like a servant's entrance, where you're led through a kitchen, and then through storerooms and things, and up through like a warren of old passageways. This is a very old building. It's been standing for hundreds of years, and these are the sorts of hallways and things that are used for the servants. These aren't the grandiose sort of ceremonial ones. These are small little warrens that are dark and barely lit from small little holes and torches and things. And then you're led into a room where there is just a couple of benches against the walls, and you're instructed to sit. And then there's a door on one side of the wall, and there's a door on the side that you've come through, obviously. And you sit, and then the door is closed, and you hear a bolt being drawn across it. And you're left here for a long time. Whilst you're sitting here, do you discuss anything? Is there any last minute plans you want to go over or anything like that?
Have you been trained to resist torture?
I've had my fair bit.
Well, hopefully it doesn't come.
So how does this, well, it's interesting. The Imperial Palace looks nice.
Well, aspects of it anyway. But like all things, the outside often hides an ugly truth.
I don't know. These red sashes seem to be more ubiquitous than I first thought. I didn't think they would be making up this much of the Imperial Guard, nor less.
I think it might be a case of our Witchfinder General friends brought a whole bunch of them with them.
Could be. We'll see what he's like. Hopefully this wasn't a stupid idea.
Well, like I said, we either walk out with more than we knew when coming in, or we don't leave at all, and our mission's over either way.
Such is life. Let's wait. Victor's looking quite uncomfortable sitting around waiting. And he's wearing like clothes he usually only wears when he goes to these kinds of things, and he doesn't really like wearing them. So he's clearly like sort of shifting in his seat here, like he doesn't want to be here.
Lorenz just looks pensive, lost in thought.
So you're in there for quite a while, long enough that it gets uncomfortable. Like small talk has run out. You're just sitting there, and then you hear from the door that you haven't been through yet, you hear on the other side a bolt open, and the door opens, and you can see through this door because the room you're in at the moment is lit from a couple of high windows. Through this door is pitch black, and stepping out from within the darkness is a quite tidily dressed sort of servant. But the servant is also very fit. They're not like there's someone who you can tell spends a lot of time looking after themselves. They're not just your usual rough-looking sort of peasant servant. They come out immaculately presented and dressed, and they look at you and say, "Well, he will see you now." And I think that is where we'll end this one, and we'll kick straight into the totally not an interrogation.
End it there. I knew it. You're either going to end it with that or him walking through the door and you describe him and he says something ominous and then you'd end it. I knew it. Rah. Cliffhangers. Rah.
So we'll end it there, and next session will totally not be the interrogation and torture of two of our PCs.
I'm looking forward to it.
Everyone likes torture RP.
And that concludes this episode. Thank you for listening to Valley of Blood. If you like what you've heard and you would like to hear more, please head to mbcast.co for all things Mud and Blood related. We would like to thank Dan Heim for allowing us to use his music for the theme song of this show, as well as some of the atmosphere heard in the episode, as well as story blocks and tabletop audio for much of the sound effects and remaining music. But that is us for now. Tune in 2 weeks for the next episode. Until then, have a good one. Ba-de-da.